Do you hear the call of Gork and Mork? Join us as we witness the rise of the green tide. Let's take a look at our fellow greenskins as they crump their way to the top. Whoa! What's up, y'all? Let's take a look at some competitive, hard-hitting, impressive, fun, very orky lists that we've come up with. We have a couple GT lists here, but the majority of them, the majority of them are GT lists, and then we have a couple RTT lists here. So this is going to be a great time, a very fun list that I came across these last couple weekends. We're hoping to make this a regular thing, and luckily we were blessed by Gork and Mork with a channel Big Mac in Brandon. As Brandon, one of our channel subscribers, Discord members, Great WAAAGH is took second place at this last weekend at the tournament he was in. So we're going to start actually with Brandon's list. We're going to take a look at his matchup. He actually gave us little summarizations of kind of his perspective and how the game went. So we appreciate that, Brandon. He actually had to face Eldar twice in this RTT. So kudos to you, Brandon. I'm glad you crumped on them and really put those Eldar back in their place. Those are our mortal enemies. So I feel no pity for the weak. Vivictus. So David, you want to pull up Brandon's list real quick so we can talk it over?
Yeah, we got his kill tank list at 2,000 points exactly.
Super flavorful. And then after this, we'll pull up pictures because he did send us pictures as well as we go over his list, as we keep talking about his list.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon, for doing that for us. His characters are the Big Mech and Mega Armor with no enhancements, another Big Mech and Mega Armor, a mech, 2 mechs, a War Boss and Mega Armor with enhancement Cunning but Brutal.
This enhancement, I always say, is underrated and underappreciated. The fact that we have access to fallback and charge, if you've heard any other of the streams, you hear me always overemphasize that. Well, Brandon did not. He brought that on the list. He did not take it for granted. He probably thought of it himself, I'm sure, because he's a very excellent player. My point is, he took it to the test and he put it on what I would say is an ideal unit in Mega Knobs. There is a unit that'll actually survive the counter charge, and you can use a different unit for fight and death. So, David, if you want to continue with the transports.
Yeah, he's got 2 trucks, 2 units of Gretchen, and he's got 3 kill tanks. Mega Knobs unit, 3. So it's 2 5-man and 1 2-man Mega Knob unit.
He was ready to put those things in transports, and then he brought also transports for his gratis, as you can see right there, y'all. So that's actually a great idea, as Brandon explains in his notes, David, and you want to maybe put up a picture and everything, and maybe you can read over some of his notes. But what Brandon was telling me as him and I spoke is those trucks and the grots were bigger deals than you would imagine on the list, right? Some people would be like, why would you put that? So you just run out of points? No, Brandon did that with actual intent, right? So, and Brandon said it's a 3x5-man Mega Knob unit. It was just a typo. So thank you, Brandon. So, but yeah, he said that unit of Mega Knobs, grots and trucks wasn't, just a points filling thing. It was actually his strategy in order to get mid-table, in order to screen, in order to survive indirect, as you guys could think. Obviously, that makes sense. So he put scout on. They get scout. If you put them on the deployment line with grots inside of them, you can go out into the midfield. Trucks can do actions as well, which is freaking awesome. And then if not, he would mention that he would actually let the trucks stay near his kill tanks. That way, if the kill tanks did get popped, the Mega Knobs had an alternative transport to get into. So he was always doubling down and getting everything covered, as in back-to-back. Everything had a purpose on his list. There was not really any fat on his list. Having only 2 mechs, as you could see, instead of committing to 3, was purposeful as well, right? You don't want to overcommit either, guys. Just because you have 3 kill tanks doesn't mean you need 3 mechs. You can imagine sometimes you can't hide them all. Sometimes one will get popped right away. Sometimes one is the one that got to get out there in the middle of the field and start doing something. So Brandon is very smart. And this is how you make a list without much fat on it, where everything having intent while still having flavor. I know some people won't have a bunch of kill tanks, and I understand that, but that's not the purpose of what we're talking about. We're going to point out the strong points of the list, units that we liked, get Brandon's perspectives. So don't sit there and say, well, I don't have 3 kill tanks. This doesn't apply to me. Tactics always apply to you. it's WAAAGH tactics. He found what orcs are good at, and he emphasized on them, and then he took advantage of one of our what we would call our weaknesses, and he strengthened it to kind of pick up something else. So David, if you wanna, have you taken over? You're still reading over his notes for a little bit.
Oh yeah, I can summarize them real quick.
If you ready, do you summarize them, and then I'll follow.
This is for the first game.
This is for
per round.
Brandon
So hit round one.
started game 1 against Eldar right off the rip. So he gets in there and he's ready to go. If we can actually pull up the Eldar the Eldar list first, so that we can read out the Eldar list as a whole. That's actually in the pictures that he sent us an email as well. And then, oh yeah, no problem. You can do it. And Admiral, no, you did not miss much at all. We just did our introduction and we discussed that we're going to go over some GT lists. But we're starting with Brandon's RTT list. Brandon's one of the channel subscribers. He's on our Discord. He helped us a lot with coming up and giving us all this additional information. That way we can actually get in depth on his list and have a real good conversation. But then we also have some GT lists that I found that were very fun and interesting, and they're all different. I want to show everybody that the meta is open for orcs. You don't have to just commit to the truck spam, which you can see truck spam is very viable, as those are one of the lists that we'll be discussing. So give us a second because I want to pull up Brandon's list, enemies list, because that's what you have to. Oh, you have them up? Oh, fantastic. So if you want to read it over, David, Brandon's list when you get a chance.
All right. Oh, Brandon, you mean his opponent?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, his opponent's list, not Brandon.
Right, this is the Eldari list.
Yes.
It's got the Avatar of Cain, of course, Farseer, a Death Jester, Night Spear. For infantry, he's got 2 units of 5 Dark Reapers, 5 Swooping Hawks, 5 Striking Scorpions, 3 Shod Runners, 2 units of 2 Skyweavers, 2 Vipers, 2 Fire Prisms, 2 War Walkers, and 2 Void Weavers. Jeez, this sounds like just so much.
Gunline much, right? My goodness. Hey, he said also that was picture from game 3.
Okay.
Where we'll see if I'm not sure, Brandon, if you sent us one of game 1, but just so you know, guys, this is a beautiful army that Brandon was talking about, that Eldar one. He mentioned that he really liked that army, so that's why he took pictures of it too. And yeah, Brandon wanted to make sure that we mentioned that in the 3rd unit of Mega Knobs, he had 3 Mega Knobs that were with twin kill saws, you guys. So just to summarize it again, he had 2 5-man units that were all power claws and custom shooters, and then the 3rd unit of Mega Knobs is 2 power claws and 3 twin kill saws. So I just want to point that out that way.
That's why I misread
We
it.
keep going. Oh, it's all good. Yeah.
Split war gear.
But that's why we got Brandon here. Thank you for being here, as well as guys. Just so only 2 trucks, 2 Big Mechs and Mega Armor. I talked to him about the Big Mechs and Mega Armor. Some people don't like them because they think the 4-up invulns may be useless, as there's a lot of access to light cover. Some people think, the fact that they're really inconsistent in hitting, and you maybe want a war boss, or maybe you don't want too many Mega Knobs, only 1 unit. Well, Brandon had success using multiple Big Mechs. He didn't see that there was an issue. I mean, of course, sometimes you don't hit, but he didn't see there being an issue of, the 4-up invulns without purpose. No, it definitely has a purpose, as people tend to use anti-armor vehicles against those man's units, right? Those Mega Knob units, if they have that -1 to wound, the enemy cannot put small arms fire into them. That's the point of why you stack that with the 4-up invuln. And you're going to be going onto objectives. You can't always, at all purpose and all points, have light cover. I know it's easy to get, but once you start playing the mission, chances are you're not in light cover. So having the 4-up invuln actually did matter. And and Brandon gave us some notes about this Eldar list. And
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all good. And
all right, so Brandon ended up getting first turn on the mission Crucible of Battle. And first thing he realized was the threats on the Eldar list and how he had enough Bright Lances to pop 2 tanks a turn.
Oh, that's
so
brutal.
what he decided to do was move 2 of his tanks onto objectives with Grots in truck to the objective in no man's land as well.
Yeah, so he took advantage of the scouting right there, most likely. And even if he didn't, trucks are fast. That's what's great. So you want to keep going, David?
I'll just read it.
Yeah.
He said 2 tanks went bottom and 1 went top. War Boss tank and one Big Mech tank went bottom because that's where he positioned Avatar behind cover. Shooting was able to knock out Void Weavers and one squad of Sky Weavers.
And see this, guys, this is what I was saying earlier when I was saying he took what is normally one of our weaknesses as orcs, and he didn't just immediately stray away from it. He goes, what's the best shooting platform I can find? And that's an issue that I have with the orc index right now, is that it's very hard for us to shoot. And you can't just go completely without shooting it. Sometimes there's units you want to pick off at range. That way they can't counter and get right up, take a bad angles on you and clear your objectives. Maybe they have good fight first abilities and you don't want to have to deal with all that and too many times fighting in death. Trying to counter it all the time with fighting in death. You might just want to be like, dang, I got to chip that unit down and kill it so it doesn't just counter charge me and pick my unit up. Shooting, being able to shoot somewhat is a huge deal. Okay, so I really like, and that he pointed this out. I was got to kill a couple of these Void Weavers and Sky Weavers. There's some orc lists though that have no shooting at all. I just wanted to point that out though, that I really appreciate shooting for these reasons.
All right, and then the bottom of turn 1, his opponent pulled his bikes to screen. He moved the Avatar towards the bottom, the No Man's Land's objective, and used all his Bright Lances to kill one of the kill tanks on the top of the map. The bottom kill tank survived shooting, but then ended up dying to the Avatar's punching. That's what, 6 attacks, strength 14, AP 3. Is it 3 or 4?
I would think the Avatar's 3.
D6 plus 2 damage. Yeah, that was easy to finish off.
Yeah, but as he says, I wanted this.
Yeah, so does Brandon preemptively plan for all of this?
The smart kid.
To set up for his turn 2 WAAAGH. And on the top side of the Megnobs pushed into the War Walkers and pushed into his home objective. War Boss Megnob squad went into his No Man's Land objective and charged the bikes and the Avatar. The third kill tank that was still alive moved up to be within 3 inches to charge the Avatar. His shooting was able to knock out one of the fire prisms and deal 2 wounds to the Avatar.
And what he meant by shooting, guys, is he has some scorches in there in his shooters. So some of it is a little luck, but when you can incorporate flamers in there, or because he said he has flamers, that's pretty nice. I appreciate that as well. And then after that, he used tank shot to hit the Avatar Cane. He used the ram attacks with 9 attacks on the wall, yeeted him out of there. Nice. Meganobs picked up his striking scorpions, the bikes on the bottom objective, on the bottom of No Man's Land objective, and the top Meganobs killed one of those walkers. Turn 2, he pops the last kill tanks, kills a couple Meganobs, and starts committing to the rest of the secondaries. He runs away, and then honestly, actually, his looks like Brandon's message turns off. At turns 3, he goes, turn 3, at the end of my turn, I hold all the objectives. All other objectives rather than his own, and he asked me if he wants to talk the rest of the match. So that's all he says. So pretty much Brandon pressured him so bad, punched out his most killy unit, started to take out some of his fighting units, his counter charging units, and just surrounded that unit, right? We heard that his opponent's list was just a giant gun line, just going out here and just murdering things. Well, Brandon just made sure he took his positions with the tanks, wasn't scared to lose them. He just chose, as I always say, his rate of attrition. He would, like he said, I wanted my kill tank to die, right? He wasn't sitting here scared to lose things throughout the game. He came into this with that in mind. He goes, yeah, this is the time. I'm ready for this to die. Now my man units is gonna, this boy's gonna die, and we're just gonna get it on, get the wall going. So Brandon, that's freaking awesome. I'm glad you crumped on that Eldar, and thanks for that summary. And we can move on. What was the second one after this? And what was about the picture? Next one. So yeah, Brandon had, I know everybody can't think, oh man, I don't have these tanks. That's okay. Don't think that way. What we're here is to recognize pattern recognition that you'll see from all of these lists, and most likely what they were trying to achieve is just Brandon's able to tell us exactly what he was trying to achieve each round and each turn. These other lists, we're not always going to have that as an option, but we can extrapolate based off the units that are used and the matchups that they are, looking at the enemy's list and kind of imagine how that looks, right? Just like Brandon literally explained how it looked in his game, he was able to get up in there and start taking out enemy units that the only little bit of fighting and fast units that guy had, even shoot a couple units and them down. He was able to trade out their one killy brick unit, which would be considered the Avatar Cane, and he kept putting pressure into the backline. Mind you, he had the cunning and brutal ability, so he could have been falling back. Probably when he talked about the opponent, he goes, yeah, most likely he let them know, I'm going to fall back with that Mega Knobs units too and keep going. So that's how Orks really want to play. You're not scared to die. You're controlling how you die. So yes, and are you going to talk about ready to talk about the second list, which was what?
The second opponent.
The second opponent. Sorry. Mm-hmm.
All right, in second round he faced World Eaters.
Oh, the World Eaters.
He had the Lootin Vocatus, World Eater's Demon Prince with enhancement Helm of Brazen Eerie, a World Eater's Master of Executions with the Berserker Glaive, another Master of Executions with the Favored of Corn enhancement. Then one 10-man unit of Jackals, 2 5-man Berserker units, a Rhino, 2 Exalted 8-bound, minimum size 3.
Mm-hmm.
Then a World Eater's Land Raider, a Mauler Fiend, and then rounding out with the Terminator Squad.
Okay, so a Land Raider, that's interesting. He brought his own kind of transport. He brought a couple of Berserker. Are those big Berserker? Sorry, I didn't see. Are those 5?
No, those 5.
Those are just 5s. Okay.
Or no, yeah, actually.
You got a 10?
Hold up.
For 115 points, it better be 5.
115
points. So yeah, it's only 5.
Yeah, it's only 5.
That he brought 1 Jackal unit. How many rhinos? Can I see? Sorry.
1 Rhino.
Just 1. Only
2 Exalted 8-bound.
Oh, Exalted 8-bound. Okay, those are expensive.
Yeah, 180 for 3 guys. Yeah.
A Mauler Fiend. Okay, that's the melee, of course. And then the Terminator Squad. Okay, so let's go back up to the top. I want to take a look at his characters with the World Eaters.
Yeah, I can look up the enhancements.
So these, yeah, they able to look up the enhancements real quick, but I'm pretty sure the ones that he stacked on here is the ability to do 4 mortal wounds with dev wounds with those Masters of Executions. I believe Master Executions have fight first as well. And I think they have access to precision. And if they don't, you can just epic challenge. So those Master of Executions are really good for killing those characters. Brandon didn't mention if those guys were able to murder his characters out of the unit or not. So Brandon, if you're around there, I'm not sure if those guys were able to get in there and kill your characters if you felt like that was an issue. You didn't mention that. Luckily, that guy doesn't have them in 10-man units of honestly, that guy, in my opinion, it would have been harder for him if those units, it's harder to deal with if there was a 10-man unit, as they're easier to kind of get into combat. They're a little bit more protected. When they're shot at, they get to move. Everybody has access to heroic interventions now. So having a 10-man unit, I found, of those guys with the Master of Executions is actually kind of a problem, because as you shoot the Berserker Squad, it'll move, and everybody will be heroicing. So yeah. And he said, yeah, you're right about the fight first. And they have the mortal wounds where they do 4 mortal wounds on devs, I believe, and they re-roll hits and wounds. That'd be interesting to know. So he had the Helm of Brazen Fire, the World Eater Demon Prince. So the World Eater Demon Prince, I'm sure, gives a 4-up invuln.
Yes.
Aura.
Ability.
He has an aura ability of a 4-up invuln.
And
so
the
that's interesting.
Helm allows him to have the damage.
Oh yeah, and he has damage. Yes, so he himself has his own damage. And Jackals have sticky objectives, guys. So just keep that in mind, as he only has 1 unit. They pretty much punch like basic boys when they on the charge as they get up to strength 4. I know the boys can get up to strength 5, but I'm just saying they have a very similar profile. So that's good. His Exalted 8-bound, very expensive. I can see that being something that you had a good time shooting at, Brandon. Those look like if they ever did get in the open, you'd probably shoot them up, and your high expensive shots would be worth it into them, as they're not really that durable for being 180 points. So yeah, I'm glad that they weren't able to precision out your characters in this matchup. And Brett, you can go to his what he says about the game. That'll be cool. But yeah, that's really, I don't think he had a picture of this one. I think he said he didn't take a picture. So yeah, he didn't take a picture, you guys, of game 2.
Just game 3.
In game 3, he only took a picture of game 3. So don't worry about that. So he's going to break down a little bit how this matchup went and this kind of game went. You know, and then after that, we'll talk about his final matchup, and then we'll move on to some of the GT lists. But this was a very freaking cool, and I really appreciate Brandon doing this. And anybody else that sees this, feel free. If you did really well at a tournament, send your list in. If it's, you know, very unique and applies to the meta, you know, watch and such like that, we'll pull it right up. And you'll see that we don't just stick to everything that's baseline meta when we're going through this. There's some interesting lists out here that did well. So be open to that. We're just really emphasizing on this one because Brandon's one of our channel subs, and he did a great job in this event with a very unique list that I'm sure nobody's seen coming. So,
Right. So the mission was Dawn of War, and he says that was tough for him, knowing that the world leaders want to punch. So what he decided to do was pivot here and deploy back as far as possible.
oh,
Tanks are big. And his opponent gets first turn, moves towards the center, and tries some turn 1 charges that end up failing. Side note, I know better than to attempt 8-inch plus charges.
I mean, as a strategy, yeah, do not do that. If you can just,
it's not
late game if you're trying, but he's definitely right. Don't make that a part of your strategy.
Yeah, not turn 1 for sure.
Very world eaterish by that guy.
Very aggressive, yes. Then his turn 1, he used the trucks to stay on the objectives and push the grots out to make a melee screen against his units. He wants to charge the center and left side with tanks all gang up to pop his land raider to make his far right side squad have to walk. The Meganobs of the Big Mech get out and fight his Rhino and Corn Berserkers in the center. First time running into new fight first mechanic. In hindsight, I should have used a kill tank.
Okay. Yeah, he kind of had to deal with, they get to automatically beat him up no matter what, no matter how he initiates, which was very new to me as well when I was playing a little bit. And the heroic intervention part, right? That fact that you can't control how far you're charging either necessarily. You have to go the distance to get base to base. That leaves you with opportunities to be countercharged as well, which doubles the threat of these master of executions and units like that.
Yeah, that's a big adjustment for us fighting armies out here. To equate it to like a shooting army, it would be as if like they forced you to shoot a different unit because of distance, or your opponent got to shoot you first. I know there's a stratagem for that, but that's after you got shot, not before. So it just really throws it off for anyone playing 8th or 9th edition. And where did I leave off?
So yeah, he probably would have thrown the big boy in there because they're not killing big boy. So his kill tank.
Then he follows with 8-bound and Lord Avocado gets screened by grots on the left-hand side, and I charge a truck to tank shock Avocado.
Tank shock.
He makes so many feel no pain saves though. He
was the one with 1 wound left. He picks up 2 more Mega Knobs. He loses the Rhinos and the Berserkers. By his turn 3, he uses Warmoss and his Megawan squad to move up and kill the side Berserkers. He'd use his Tank Shock again, charge the Mauler Fiend. He also put some shots into him. Grots move up and charge the Mauler Fiend so I can consolidate towards the objective and steal it. So utilizing the fact that Grots actually have OC, they're not just garbage. They're not just there to always just like die for no reason. He consistently kept pushing them up the board. And Brandon, I'd like to know, did you use them as T5? Were you playing? Do you consider them T5 in combat? I assume that you do that, but I just want to be sure so we understand how that goes, because that's what I was doing with my Grots too whenever I played this last week, and I was like, charge Grots, get in there, prepare to die, right? Put them right behind the wall, get up in there. And Brandon says, yes, he confirms that he made them T5 when they fight. They are T5 when they fight, according to the rules. So he left the left side kill tank. As we talk about that mech, the mech brings Mega Knobs back. Okay. He shoots the jackals. He gets some lucky shots on them. He actually ends up taking the jackals out with some small alarms fire. He shoots the Lord Avocado on the 8-bound. He rapid ingresses into no man's land. He ends up Brandon ends up conceding the left side of the map. And by turn 4, they talked it out, and he made it not a point to be not combative and be more. I'm not sure what the follow one was. I think it kind of stopped somewhere in your message, Brandon, on that one. But I'm pretty sure what Brandon was saying, that he was being cordial about it and humble about the fact that he was most likely still winning and that he won. So, Brandon, that's fantastic. I'm glad that you dealt with those Masters of Executions very well, and that he didn't roll hot, or I'm not sure if he had the re-rolls, but yeah, that he didn't snipe them out, because on average, that guy does some pretty nasty mortal wounds and such.
Yeah, Brandon did an amazing job utilizing his grots in this matchup. Knowing that against a melee army, being able to screen them, being able to charge you charge the Mauler Fiend, holding it up in combat
to get an objective.
And to prevent that Mauler Fiend to go touch what he wants to.
Exactly. Taking the initiative away from people, guys, as an orc player keeping constant pressure while still controlling your rate of attrition is why the Orks are a high skill army overall. You can play them however you want. They don't have to be high skill. You can just have fun and just get in there. But what I'm saying is to be a very strong player, especially when it's not obvious what combinations and stuff we have to do to be the most powerful, as you're going to see as we go through a couple of these lists. There are consistencies, but you'll see none of these lists are replicas of each other. No one's just copying and pasting stuff like they were doing with freebooters or Goff sometimes, right? So you'll see this as we continue to go. Brandon has a very unique list with the kill tanks. I know a lot of people can't relate to that. I can't relate to that. I don't have 3 kill tanks, but that's not the point. The point is he's controlling his rate of attrition. He's playing like an Ork player should play. And for that, Gork Mork blessed him. So in the 3rd round, Brandon ends up playing Eldar again. So this is where Gork and Mork were like, we like watching you crump those little skinny beaky, those, what do they call them? I'm not sure what the Orks call their Eldar right now. But they're pretty much fairies. I don't care. That's what I call them. So softies. So it's very fun. And yeah, I think David's ready to pull up and talk about this. He's going to read this Eldar list out for the 3rd match that Brandon has.
All right. So his opponent had the Artar Skyrunner with an enhancement Phoenix Gem, a Farseer Skyrunner. That's his loadout. A unit of Guardian Defenders. 2 units of Guardian Defenders. 1 10-man and 1 5. 1, 2. 2 units of 10 Wind Riders. 3 Warwalkers. 3 Hornets and 3 Fire Prisms.
Goodness.
Again, a lot of firepower.
This guy said the rule of 3 is what I'll be. You know what I'm saying? This dude was just going. All right, man. I get it. All right. Efficiency right there.
Yeah.
All right, Eldar player. I see you, man. Goodness. So for this list, we can see he has a lot of small, you wouldn't consider, but he has a lot of cheap units. You see it in the Eldar list. He had at least 6 units and minimum that are under 100 points on that Eldar list. So that's the total and opposite of what Brandon's kind of dealing with, Brandon. But he does have those 2 big bricks of Wind Riders, so that makes up for it. But it's nice that Eldar, I'm sure that they appreciate that they have small units that can move around and do stuff, which is the opposite. Brandon's just big bricked out with a couple of Grot units. So you can see Brandon's making the most out of what he has by just having 3 units of Mega Knobs, right? Grot units, 3 leader units, as in 2 of them are big mechs, one's a war boss and mega armors, and then 2 of them are mechs. I know those are leaders / lone operatives, but you know what I'm saying. They're not staying in units. So Brandon was making the most out of everything he had each game. So he talks about how the trucks would come up and consistently charge into units so that he could do mortal wounds into them with tank shock so that he can get up on the objective. He kept moving the Grots up the field. He wasn't scared. He wasn't scared to lose anything. He was controlling how he lost it, right? He wasn't letting the enemy take the initiative away from him with the Eldar. He wasn't letting the World Eaters necessarily stop his game plan. He was just saying, you're not going to have the initiative on me. I need the initiative as an Ork player, especially with the limited models I have. I'm going to play exactly how I need to play. Sometimes I'll be cagey. Sometimes I'll just throw my Grots out into the middle and scout. That's what it is. So that was awesome that Brandon did that. And he's showing how you go with the tide, right? We're Orks. You go with the green tide, rise and falls at the tide. And that's what he was doing right here in all his matchups. He was just riding the waves. So that was freaking awesome. And right here, we're talking about, you want to see his pull-up of his...
pull up his pictures?
Yeah, I don't know. This here are the pictures for this actual game that he played. So we can look at these pictures. Brandon said that this was a beautiful army. This really nice with yellowish, kind of orangey golden. Those are Brandon's kill tanks. Very intimidating, but as you can see, dude deployed them, just like drop, what is that? A couple units, 2 tanks in the kill tank. In the kill tanks, and then you can get the mechs most likely in transports too. My boy's starting the game with just 5 units deployed, so that's awesome. And yeah, they are big, as you can see, freaking massive. Oh man, and he did share the STL for that. So okay, and David's gonna go up and kind of summarize Brandon's game 3, as this was an intense game and a lot of dangerous firepower on this list, especially for the fact that Brandon brought a lot of tanks, obviously a lot of points in tanks.
Right, yeah, this list had enough firepower to pick up all 3 kill tanks in one turn with the 12 Blight Lances and 3 Fire Prisms.
Yikes, my goodness.
So Gork smiles on Brandon in this matchup and gives him first turn.
Yeah.
He sets up the truck, truck A in his deployment objective and truck B into line of sight terrain as close to the middle objective as possible. One kill tank with the Mega Mech squad on the right-hand side and the other 2 tanks on the left-hand side. The Mega Knob squad gets out and takes the center objective. The right side kill tank also goes forward as much as possible toward his fire prisms, puts all kill tank shots into fire prisms, and doesn't manage to kill anyone.
Oh, goodness.
But Brandon was ready to adapt.
There you go.
That's a good attitude to have because
Yep.
you don't want to mentally defeat yourself before the match is over.
A lot of people do that.
Yes. It can be discouraging when something doesn't go your way.
Mm-hmm.
And his opponent's turn 1 goes as expected and kills 2 kill tanks. One of the kill tanks explodes and he uses Kareen to get into his fire prism break and managed to destroy one that was left on 3 wounds.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I like that.
I used Kareen this weekend too. It was freaking awesome. It feels so good. You're like, haha, I have something for you. The opponent is hilarious. They're like, haha, you blew up. And you're like, no, we blew up. Yeah. So yeah, continue.
And then his opponent wanted to pop some shots into the Megnubs in the center with some Blight Lances, but Brandon reminded him about the Artist Nail strat.
Yeah. Good job on you for reminding him.
Yeah, sometimes that can deter your opponent from targeting what unit you really care about.
It's the gentleman's thing to do as well.
Yes.
Because, if it's a good player, he'll still know that could possibly be bait as well. But the gentleman thing to do, let him know. Don't wait until he does his targeting and, and he actually tries to start rolling dice. And they go, oh, man, I'm activating this. Haha. No, definitely not. You can see Brandon even scoring very well, doing very well this entire event. He's still being cordial. He's still being a gentleman at the top table. He doesn't give a crap. He does care enough that he's going to try his best, but he's not going to let the opponent make a dumb decision, withhold information just so that he can have an advantage. He let him know, hey, man, be sure of this because I'm going to use this. So we advise that you play that way, even in your casual games, but definitely in your competitive games too. Keep the spirit of the game light and a game.
Right. And there's a lot of rules, guys. It's kind of hard to know what every single army does. And this is also round 3. So after 2.5 games of Warhammer, your brain's kind of fried.
Yeah, if you're still going, I'm sure if you're ever going to go to a tournament, guys, we recommend you put practice games in, try to get back-to-back games in because the fatigue really does wear on you. So Brandon's not only being a gentleman, but in fatigue late into the game, multiple games in with a list that he has to utilize everything. I know he's had to talk out a couple turns, but that's because I'm sure that the games were going long turns where the opponents really had to think about what they had to do, and so did Brandon because he doesn't really have that much. Right? He really has to make the most out of everything. So continue with that.
So the opponent still decided to use those Bright Lances on the Megnobs, which left Brandon's other kill tank intact for another turn, and he rolls some crazy 4-up saves, only losing 1 Meganob. Nice.
Fantastic. Hey, those 4-up saves coming in handy, right? You might think, why do I need them? There's like cover anymore everywhere. AP's been reduced. Yeah. Sometimes you got to stand on the objective, and sometimes people are going to treat you with some anti-tank fire. They don't care that that's an infantry unit. When you got that strat in your pocket, people got some lances in their pockets for you. So very well that you have that force field. Fantastic.
Right. So the Eldari player decided to follow up with his Wind Riders.
Okay.
Yeah, with his Wind Riders.
Ooh, okay.
Is that
what he wrote?
Sorry. Yeah, his bike shots. And just for anyone that doesn't know, the Wind Riders get 2 shots a pop, hitting on 3s. They're twin linked, and I'm not sure where these Magnavs were at, but if they were the closest unit, they'd get to reroll hit rolls of 1, and if they're on objective, reroll all hit rolls.
Oh,
so very efficient shooting, but good thing for the Orks, we got high toughness, so still wounding on 5s.
And then Artist Nails.
And
I get 6s. Yeah. Exactly.
So he only ended up losing 1 more Meganob. And here he feels that he has them on the ropes and where he wants them. He just doesn't know yet.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. And he said his Meganobs were on the objective, in fact, so they were getting rerolls.
Okay. And then turn 2, call in the WAAAGH. Whoa! And here come the grots. Getting a 6-inch.
Hey, what a sentence. You could call the WAAAGH. Okay, here come the grots, though, right? Like a proper WAAAGH. Send the grots in first to eat some of those initial shots. Okay.
Yes. So they get a 6-inch advantage. So they yeet through the center and charge bikes, warwalkers, hornets, and one fire prism.
Start touching everything because they're T5. Just get in there and touch it all, guys. You'd be ridiculously surprised about how annoying that is for opponents that you're like, yeah, this is as durable as a boys unit until you get the last guy in combat. Take that. And I've been looking at a lot of the tables for tournaments. They've been looking really good, and they're actually, the terrain's been done very well. It's very common that people have these MDF terrain that are cut out to what you need them to be exactly, and they're all duplicates so that the tables are filled out, especially at RTTs, since it's easy to kind of fill up all the tables. So I'm sure people are utilizing the cover to their advantage and then running out into the open to get into combat. As you've seen in these, actually in Brandon's pictures right there, as you can see, those are pretty good pieces of terrain. Of course, you can see that there's big open areas to fight as well, so it's terrifying, right? They're not as big as you would want it to be, but you can see in the middle where Brandon would stage up and then come out. But that's the use of our transports as well, guys. And like Brandon said, he only had 5 drops here. You can see there's his drops, guys. There you go. Very straightforward. He was not disguising his strategy by any means. Okay, and that's cool. I really appreciate that. And you'll see, guys, that's very different than what a lot of other lists we're going to be going into. So is that the summary of Brandon's game? Did he?
No. Then he followed up in the center to charge with those magnabs that survived all that shooting. Charging the same units. Then on the other flank, both Meganob squads charged the 2 squads of 10 bikes. The kill tank puts his firepower on the left side no man's land's objective. Prisms die, 2 hornets die. Almost all the bikes die. And unbridled carnage for the win. With 1 squad having to come back and the other 2 bikes left. His turn 2 shooting gets hurt hard, being -1 hit. And he kills most Meganobs attached to the war boss squad. By the end of the turn, leftover hornet and bikers die. Then his turn 3, war boss squad takes center, and both mech squads push deeper into his bubble and destroy the rest of the war walkers. And then tag the final guardians.
There you go. So that's pretty awesome. He said that what his war boss takes the center, both mech squads push deeper. Okay, that's pretty awesome that they were able to do that. Oh, they're mech squad, so that makes sense. So that's just so much meat that he's just pushing down these people's throats. They're just dropping empty tank. All their small arms fire is completely useless because they can't do anything unless they can get a shot on the small trucks that I'm sure he's able to hide. Everything else is just like, I'm staging, so when my cargo gets blown up, I'm going to dismount behind something. So even though this terrain was kind of open with these big old kill tanks, I'm sure he staged them next to terrain. Dude died. He can put them inside of terrain piece, something like that, so things aren't getting shot immediately. And if not, get out. You got the invuln. Get on the objective. Right? That's what I mean.
Right.
You can see you're not getting like cover most likely on these objectives. Right? You're just not on all of them. So that's why you just enjoy that 4-up invuln. So he really took advantage of the Orks' toughness on this list, you guys, right? Let's go over the points of Brandon's list. Now we're gonna come back over to Brandon's list. And David, you can probably pull up the next list for who is this Todd Higgins list. And then I want to go over Brandon's list one more time so that people can really understand how limited he was on the amount of units he had and how he was using the most of what he had. So very cool. And it was thematic and it was unique, which I'm sure a unique skew like that will definitely catch your opponents off guard. And that's very smart of him from the competitive level to be coming at it from that direction. So we got, like I said, 2 big mechs with mega armor, guys. No enhancements on those 2 big mechs in mega armor. 2 mechs. And then he has 1 war boss in mega armor with cunning but brutal, which is the ability to fall back and charge. Great choice on Mega Knobs, a very overlooked enhancement for only 15 points on such already durable units. He has 2 trucks. Those trucks are followed up with 2 grots. The grots do go in those trucks, you guys. He's not scared to put grots in the trucks. If you weren't here before, he uses them to shield himself from possible indirect. He uses it to get scouting. He uses it to get trucks up the field quicker with the scouting, but also charging those trucks into enemies or doing secondary objectives as well. Very, very diverse unit for a package less than 100 points. Goodness. Yeah. God, goodness. Then he charges those grots up in there, right? Like we've seen, or he said he's used them to kind of hide next to the kill tanks. And as the Mega Knobs get disembarked from getting blown up, when he can, he'll put them back in the truck as well. So he can maintain that momentum. He always adds something in mind as a follow-up, right? Controlling that rate of attrition is very smart. 3 kill tanks, guys. I know you might not have one, but you can appreciate that he does. 2 5-man units of kill tanks that are, 2 5-man units of Mega Knobs that are strictly custom shooters and power claws, and then a last Mega Knobs unit that had 3 twin kill saws and 2 power claws. So Brandon did a great job. He got 2nd place at the event. The only guy to do better than him was Andrew Gaiano from Art of War with Necrons. So that's obviously a pretty big deal. I'm pretty sure. Was that him? Am I looking at the wrong tournament?
Yeah, you're looking at the right
Oh,
one.
sorry. That's a long tournament. Sorry, guys. I picked the wrong. No, this is the wrong one that I looked at. Oh. Yeah, my bad. That's not who beat him. I just said something random. That did better. Yeah. Oh, no, it was him. Yeah, that was him. Sorry. Andrew Gagno. Sorry, I said Gaiano. Sorry, whatever, dude. You're a non-orc player. From Art of War ended up doing better. But Brandon did score a 100 on that last game. It really was that World Eaters game where he got 72 points. As someone that's pretty familiar with World Eaters, I can see why they were kind of giving, especially because you were the first time dealing with fight first. They do punch good enough to probably pick up some of these units. And they're going to meet you there and not necessarily let you do what orcs really like to do, which is what I call kind of form that horseshoe over the opponents, right? If you can meet the enemy, kind of go surround them, like maybe those Eldar. That's kind of how orcs generally beat their opponents. But because the World Eaters want to do the same thing to you, and they get turn 1 charges, the game could have ended up like this, possibly, right? Or just in reverse. But, Brandon was smart. He played it more cages to still get the W. But that little not as optimal scoring is probably what kept him away from actually getting first. So great job, Brandon, with the unique list. Getting 2nd next to an Art of War guy is nothing to be ashamed of or be upset about.
Oh, Brandon did an amazing job.
And he had fun.
Yeah, he had fun. And I didn't hear anything about the cunning but brutal enhancement come into play because he just kind of steamrolled everyone.
Yeah, but when he talked it out with people is what I'm saying. I'm sure he brought it up because when he would get on those people and he would talk it out, he would be like, just I'm going to maintain this momentum with the ability to fall back in charge. So just letting them know that's going to happen, they're like, yikes. And Brandon, when you do show up to a GT with that, you let us know with that follow-up, right? Because we're going to make this a regular thing. We're going to get better at this if you're someone watching this. And let us know in the comments or with feedback in general of maybe something you like. Maybe our summaries need to be shorter. Maybe they could be a little more detailed or maybe more pictures. Whatever it can be, let us know. We will get better at it every time. And I'll be better to do more studying, as it was kind of a last-minute idea to be like, we're going to watch the meta and see what's competitive. Now we're going to move on to the first GT picks. The first GT list. This is GT list is, I meant the GT list from Todd Deagle. No, whichever one you want. I had Todd
5 rounds.
Higgins. I was
they play the same one.
I was in the cover.
The
Todd Higgins list right here.
Yeah, but I couldn't find any like the event.
Oh really? Oh no. Oh, Elite Element Games? Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. That's new to me. Okay, well then we'll start with Todd Deagle's list. Todd Deagle got 3rd at the Deck Box tournament. This is a GT.
Yeah, as you can see, it's 5 rounds.
So you're gonna go over his list real quick? Yeah. You're gonna go start with his list.
He was running a list what he calls the Dread WAAAGH.
Oh, guys, is this the Call of the Mek WAAAGH again, guys? You're gonna see that that's actually a little of a theme here, guys. That surprisingly stuff that's considered a orc kind of mechanized or heavy toughness army did pretty well. So continue, David. Sorry about that.
All right, he's got the Beast Boss on Squigosaur with enhancement Head Wappa's Kill Choppa. He's got Gazgul Thraka.
I found Tom. So you can continue. We'll do him next.
Right. He's also got Mazrag, a War Boss with enhancement Cunning but Brutal. So another example of the Cunning but Brutal enhancement.
Yeah, so you got, and not to toot my own noise squig, but War Boss, Knob units, in competitive, doing great. Yes, sir. GT level. Yes, sir. Not surprised.
Right. Battle line 2 units of 10 Beast Naga Boys, 1 truck, 1 Gretchen unit, And here we got 2 6-man killicans.
There you go. 2 6-man kilocan units. What?
Yeah, that's
So this
surprising.
dude just
I like
slapped
that.
me in the face a little bit, and he goes, "Yeah, you like them nods, but I like them killicans." Right? He just checked me to knock my teeth out. What's going on here? Dude just said, "Yeah, I'm going," and he went all in on the rockets. That's the point, guys. You bring the killicans, as we spoke about with Brandon. You look at our weakness and you don't just overlook it as in I'm going to give up completely on it. They go, literally, what am I going to do with this? What can I do with this? What do I have accessed right now that I want to use? Blah blah blah. What's the diverse? Clearly, he said, I'm gonna bring these. I'm gonna really lean into all these rocket launches with the ability to hit on 4s. Right? Just go all in. I mean, that's freaking awesome. I like that he did that. He was not scared, and clearly in his practice games, which I'm sure he had, they came in handy because he doubled down on those units and just imagine just how I'm thinking about how the game kind of plays more, and the lack of their speed isn't as important. I can see how much space and durability that really takes up on the board. And I mean, small arms fire does suck against them to a certain extent too, as they have even better armor and they still get access to light cover.
Right. The last 2 units on his list is a unit of Meganobs, 5 with power claws and kill saws. Is that right? They can have that instead of the shooter?
Yeah, he has 1 and 1, I think, is what he did.
Okay.
They
So
should be
no
okay.
shooting.
Yeah, no shooting, it looks like.
And then that 10-man knob unit, like you mentioned earlier.
There we go. So
with
he
the
stuck
power
that
claws.
10-man knobs unit with that war boss. And also, yeah, Brandon pointed out as well, the killicans have that side rule, guys, that they can actually ignore cover. They can ignore light cover. You have to roll for it. On a 1, you actually shoot the nearest enemy models and do mortal wounds to them. Enemy unit. So maybe put some grots near them, right? Let them pop, pop, pop. But the whole point is that he was not scared to do it. And they ignore cover. The fact that they already have -2 AP, that's a big deal. Everybody else has to deal with cover that has -2 AP. They didn't, and they don't have to deal with the orcs sitting on 5s. So did he? I didn't see, but did he have a mech on his list? I don't think so, right? Because that only applies to 1 model, so that wouldn't even be worth it. He didn't have a mech on that list. He definitely did not have a mech. It wouldn't be useless, right? And then you have Gaz there, as well as all those kill tanks. Dude, the profile you're taking up on the field in the middle of the battlefield is freaking fantastic. Doubling down with more and more toughness, more and more thick wounds with Mazrog and the Beast Boss on Squigosaur. Just going all in with this. And I think he only has 1 truck unit, right?
Yeah, that one truck.
So he's not truck spamming, guys. He's not truck spamming. That's what I'm trying to show as well with this list. Not only is this list is unique, not only did he do an excellent job. This is Todd Deagle, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Todd Deagle got 3rd place at this event. Just to remind you guys, he went win, win, loss, win, win. And he got 435 points total from what I've seen. So he did a really good job as well. You can see his list is out of the box, the entire meta. But if people if he went out and showed people this list, the first thing people would do is probably start to try to criticize having Gaz and killicans, right? People might go, well, you don't have any trucks. Where are the rest of your trucks? You have 1 truck unit. He only brought the trucks most likely for those knobs and war boss. That's most likely the only one that he brought it for. He let the boys just probably run, foot slog it, standing on objectives, maybe come in later on during the wall and get some charges in. But he was not relying on them. He was relying on character, hammer, and the kill tanks to run up to the middle of the board. And I think if you go down lower, what did he have for speed? Only 1 kill, only 1 unit of Gretchen as well. Yeah. And then a man's unit. So that's obviously what goes with Gaz. So goodness, this guy literally was just foot slogging up the board, right? No fancy, no speed. This guy just said, I'm going thick meat, bodies, giant, not giant, but a bunch of large bases to take over all these objectives in the middle of the board. So I can definitely see how this guy gave people headaches, gave people problems. How are you going to kill stuff? Where are you going to designate your anti-tank to? I mean, with the bladed wounds, the fact that the killican is going to take the las cannon, and sure that it does amazing, you might not kill it, right? It has 5 wounds. You could just not roll high enough to kill it, and then your second one goes in, you kill 1 killican with las cannon. Yeah, that would suck. That would suck. So I mean, and like I said, they do get light cover, and unlike other things that are a problem with the orcs that they lack shooting, these guys are shooting you back. So that anti-tank unit is most likely getting hit with all of the rockets if they can, right? Or your elite unit that's setting up to countercharge those guys, they can actually get hit with damage 3 rockets, start chipping down that unit. So you can see a little bit of a theme kind of developing with the first 2 lists we started. They do have the potential to shoot and reach out and shoot some enemy units that could be problematic, to weaken them, to stop them from being able to one-shot you in the countercharge, right? So that's a great job by Todd Deagle. So let's look at the first matchup he had. Let's see just what he most likely had to deal with, just so we can get a peep at it.
He faced
the Crons.
the Crons.
Oh, and I know I know there's a Cron player that's out there going, no, the counter to Crons. I'm telling you guys, Killer Cans do great against Necrons. It's just because the fact that they're both well-rounded, a good toughness level, a good armor save level, the ability to work in both phases, as in they shoot and they fight. And yeah, they're actually kind of funny how they do well into them. But this is most likely a very hard list. So let's look at this.
All right, so we got a Chronomancer with the Veil of Darkness, a Catan Void Dragon, one Overlord.
I haven't seen people bring the Void Dragon.
With the Hyper Martial Ablator.
Okay.
An Overlord with the Sovereign Cornel, a Royal Warden, and a Technomancer. So he's bringing every character you can here.
Yeah, I mean, Crons are one of those armies that play character hammer, right? They just come in and they just put a lot of characters. I'm not dissing them or anything. It kind of just how they work. You know, it's thematic for their army, and it's really what they're kind of going with. I think it's still a little heavy, to be honest. I'm not sure if that Royal Warden's worth it. You also do have the Void Dragon, very expensive, but hey, he is what he is. So let's continue. I'm sure he was a good player.
Yeah, he's got one 20-man warrior blob, a 10-man warrior unit.
Totally Gauze Reapers.
Yeah, all with Gauze Reapers. One Ghost Ark.
Okay.
Then two Canatep Doomstalkers. Okay. One Reanimator.
Just bringing those. The Crypto Thralls. There we go. I was waiting for those dudes.
Yeah,
so if
two
you don't,
units of those.
Okay, sorry, you keep on talking about.
Unit of Death Marks, a unit of Death Locust Destroyers, and a unit of Heavy Locust Destroyers. Three of them. Okay. And then 10-man Lynch Guard unit.
I like to see the Heavy Destroyers solo. Learned that from Chris Tech. Shout out to Chris Tech. He did bring the Lich Guard though, and he has the Crypto Thralls, and he has the Brick of the Warrior. So I'm sure he stuck those Crypto Thralls to the Warrior unit. Yeah. They give that Warrior unit a 4-up Feel No Pain, and they can actually reanimate. So you have to chew through the Crypto Thralls. Their Feel No Pains, their durability, their multi-wounds, their invuln. I'm pretty sure they get access to the invuln as well.
Yeah.
And then they reanimate. So luckily, sorry, go back down. I don't think any of those units are fast though. And how much fighting potential does he have?
All I see is the Lynch Guard.
And what's his anti-tank potential?
The Heavy Destroyers.
Exactly, right? This is something that Necrons kind of deal with, is they're not really that good at dealing with armor, right? That's why I see a lot of the time people will auto bring these destroyers, but what are you going to do against all of these characters? You're dealing with Mazrog, you're dealing with the Beast Boss and Squiggus, you're dealing with the 2-up Invul and Kaz. And then you have 12 Killicans walking up the field, getting like, okay, dude, shoot those Gauze cannons into me. Cool, have fun with that. Your Gauze Reapers, all the small arms fire, whatever, dude. You're gonna reanimate, but the Orks are thicker, even thicker. They're gonna be punching down on these guys, just beating the crap out of these units. They have enough ability to kill the character and then the Void Dragon. I mean, I'm sure he was. I don't even know what's his ability. I mean, I haven't seen him out if you're the Void Dragon. I haven't seen him as being one of the most useful guys, but I think he does good against vehicles. So that's actually pretty interesting.
Speaking of anti-tank,
yeah,
the Doomstalkers get D6 plus 1 shots, hitting on 4s, strength 14, -3, 3 damage. That's 48-inch range with those.
With
the Doomstalkers,
they get what? So 14.
D6 plus 1.
So those do shoot now.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So they do, and they had which one? The Doomsday Blaster? Is that what it is?
The Doomsday Blaster.
Oh, okay. So they do have the ability to shoot, but like I said, what's their toughness and durability?
Their toughness 8 and 12 wounds.
Oh, so it looks like they don't like to get shot with rockets either. As the rockets are strength 8. Do they have an invuln?
3-up save, 4-up invuln.
Oh, so they do have an invuln, but rockets are 3 damage, and this dude could have 12. So this is what I'm saying. Having those small arms fire, I'm sure he tried to hide them at first. But when you do have to get out there and get it, I'm sure he enjoyed the fact that he could shoot them back, because those guys those are almost ideal targets with those rockets to shoot at, as most vehicles are going to be higher than T8 right now, right? But the fact that he had those rockets, I'm sure were threatening to those guys. You put that whole unit into one, boom, deal with one of those units. And I don't know how I feel about those Doomstalkers all the time, but you can see that this guy knew that the Necron's weakness was anti-armor, and this guy still came in. Todd Deagle still came in and pretty much ran him over. He ran these kill tanks down his throat. So shout out to Todd Deagle. Dave, we can probably move on to the next list, or his next matchup, most likely. Sorry, I wasn't stay too stuck on here because we still have a couple boys left. But as you can imagine, guys, this Necron army doesn't have speed. It's walking up to the middle of the table to meet you. It's hoping that you can't kill it. It's shooting at you with its long range tanks and its heavy destroyer. I mean, sorry, long range weapons and its heavy las cannon heavy destroyers. But he doesn't have good countercharging unit. He doesn't have speed to get the initiative, and all of those orc characters are murderizing anything that's trying to stop them, other than the unkillable brick, which you can play around and continue to score. So shout out to Todd Deagle for game 1 against Necrons, as Necrons are very annoying to beat. What was his second matchup?
In the second round, he faces Dark Angels, and they're bringing Azrael, Belial, a Deathwing Strike Master, an Ancient and Terminator armor, then a unit of 5 Deathwing Knights.
Okay.
This looks like a Deathwing Command Squad with 2 Cyclone Missile Launchers, Power Fist, and then 4 Thunder Hammers. Looks like he plugged in the Apothecary, a Champion, and an Ancient in that unit.
In the command squad, you have to have these as
these
as
are
a part of the unit. It's the command squad for them. And you put another one too. So what I've heard is that these guys are actually pretty useful to run multiple of them. So I'm not surprised.
Right. That's a lot of points.
You know what else is a lot of points? Desolators.
They're at the same price range now. About
almost.
All right, and then he's got a Deathwing Command, another Deathwing Command Squad. This one only has an Apothecary and a Champion and an Ancient.
Okay.
No, wait, it's just indifferent. Sorry.
Okay.
Same thing.
Yeah, they have to.
Then 1 unit of Storm Speed or Thunderstrike.
Probably for the innate ability it has when it's a unit.
Yeah, which one is that? The extra AP or the +1 to 1?
I don't know, but both of those are useful.
Yes.
So yeah, and then he has the Desolation Squad, which 340 points, and he said, "I still want that." Followed by
1 unit is still worth it.
1 Starngard unit. Yeah, it could. The Desolation Squad could be unit. Would be worth it unless you're against this list. No, I'm just kidding. I'm interested to see how you approach this, as that interact could be a problem just for those boys, but in reality, those kill tanks and all. I mean, the kill cans, the characters aren't scared of that. He can almost, after he countercharges, after he gets out there and charges into his enemy's lines, he's not worried about all the firepower. He's already on his throat. You're not going to kill it fast enough, considering you have gas and everything. So I don't think he lost that game either. I'm pretty sure he lost his 3rd game. You can check that one again. I'm pretty sure he didn't lose until his 3rd game, followed up by 2 wins.
He lost his 3rd game.
He lost his 3rd game. So he still won this game even with that. So just a quick touch, and for anybody that's new here, this is Todd Deagle's list. He got 3rd place at a GT. He had a Beast Boss and Squid Score, had Wapa's Kill Chopper, Gaz Ghoul, Mazrag's Scrag Bag, a War Boss with Cunning but Brutal. He had 2 Beast Snaggle Boy units, 1 truck, guys, not spamming. He just has 1. In that truck, he had a Knobs unit, most likely, as he has a 10-man unit of Knobs, followed by 1 Gretchen unit, 2 6-man units of Killer Cans, all of them equipped with rocket launchers, followed by 1 Mega Knob unit, and that's his list. Most likely Mega Knobs work with gas. So he just had these big, thick bricks just walking up the field. I mean, that's freaking awesome and thematic as it can be. He didn't bring the Death Dreads, as you can see. Having the wounds that disperse through multiple models in 1 unit is definitely the way to go if you're trying to deal with anti-tank fire and such. So, and the fact that they fire back. So heck yeah. What was his other matchup? Did you pull that? Yep.
Yes. So his other matchup was against the Gene Stealer Colts.
So is this the one he lost?
Yes, this is the one he lost.
Okay.
That's understandable.
Yeah, Gene Stealers are a menace.
All right. Gene Stealer had an Acolyte Icon Ward, Biophagus, Jackal Alphys, a Nexus, a Primus, a Reductus Saboteur, 2 Reductus Saboteurs. Then Battle Line had
here he comes.
2 Acolyte Hybrid units, 10 mans, a 20-man, no, 2 Neophyte Hybrid units of 20, and then 1 10-man.
Gosh, my dude was ready. Aberrants.
He's got the 10-man Aberrants, the Achilles Ridge Runners, 2 units, and then finishing off with a 10-man Jackal unit.
And that's a very effective list.
Pure Strain Gene Stealer, 10-man.
God. Okay. So if you didn't know, GSC has potential to come back. If you ever want to look into GSC and why they're super strong, Nick Nanavari has been beating people up with them. So
Yeah, he went undefeated this past weekend.
Yeah,
They got a
no-
lot of shenanigans, the redeploys, all that
not
stuff.
dying units, stuff like that. Hey guys, sometimes you can have a really cool, diverse list, and it can be good, and you could just run into armies that are just straight up better at times, that are just have too many obstacles to overcome. And if the guy's an also good player, then he'll play his list optimal, and you'll end up taking that out. So let's go. I would say I don't want to too much on that beast on the Gene Stealer list, just because they're gonna be a lot of talk about Gene Stealers, as right now they're coming out and beating up the meta. So I'm sure you'll hear about them everywhere competitively. And like you said, like Brandon said, you probably wasn't fast enough to get his deployment, stop them from coming back, right? Yes, that's definitely what was happening, as everything he has is kind of, let's see, the kill tanks, the killer cans are moving 6 inches. Gaz isn't very fast with the man's units. He only has 1 transport. The Grots were a scouting potential, but not really moving. I mean, none of that's really going to get to his back lines off the top of my head. So yeah, he's not stopping that. He's getting gunked up with all that stuff. Some of those units actually have potential to punch up into him as well, and actually not be scared to get into combat with those killer can units. So and the fact that they're constantly coming back, yeah, they're gonna bog up Gaz too. Gaz still doesn't have a sweep attack, so whatever. But either way, shout out, you did good, Todd. I'm sure you did your best, and sometimes you can't win them all. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Orks is never beaten. So let's move on to the 4th list.
Yeah, in round 4, he faced Custodes, and his opponent brought a Blade Champion with enhancement Veiled Blade, a Shield Captain with enhancement Inspirational Exemplar, a Shield Captain in Terminator armor with the Ceaseless Hunter enhancement, Trajan Valoris. Oh, he's only 145 points.
You like how David broke his stride? He was like, "Wait a second, what is this?" Yeah, man.
Did he
Yeah.
get nerfed? I thought he still had 3 damage in strength 10.
No, he's still pretty dope. Yeah, he's still dope. He gets one game ability. He still gets pre-strats. Yeah, Trajan is abusive. I mean, I have a world Custodes army, but I'm not bringing that up. So yeah,
right. And battle line 2 5-man custodian guard units.
Okay, so he didn't go for the 10-man. He just went 2 5-mans, which are still a problem. But some people have been favoring the 10-man. Some people are going MSU with Custodes. I'm not keeping up with their meta, as I feel like they're just super innately strong, and that a lot of people are going to be covering them. But I know that they're a problem in many ways. They have a lot of access to fight first. They have feel no pains. They're a strong army.
And his most expensive unit, the 5-man Alaris Custodians. Then he's got a 6-man Custodian Warden unit.
Okay.
And then the Land Raider. That's surprising.
And then is it though?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I like that.
I mean, a lot of people are bringing the Land Raiders.
Yeah, I'm just surprised with I guess this army in particular, with everything being so expensive.
Well, they're hitting on 2s with their weapons, because it's considered a venerable one. So you're getting great anti-tank.
Mm-hmm.
Custodes are worth the transportation. And I'm pretty sure they still have the assault ramp. So Land Raiders have the assault ramp too. So I mean, I can see why'd you bring one. Not too many people have theirs painted up and such. And if you did, there was a box set that they released years ago, and I remember people were like, "Dude, the Land Raider sucks. I hate this box set." And then now I'm probably like, "Yeah, eat your heart out, boys." Right? It's like Greg. Shout out to Greg, as you know, he has that.
Yeah, he has almost everything.
He has everything, including the things they got rid of in Forge World. So rip.
So one thing I'm curious about is
the thing here is that so from what we know, they only have -2 AP on most of these weapons, guys. You are going to be taking a decent save with all these kill tanks into them. The fact that you have flat 3 punches with all of these killer cans, right? When I was talking about Necrons don't do good into killer cans, neither do Custodes ideally, right? They really don't like going into killer cans, as killer cans have just as much potential to punch out one of their units as the Custodes do to them. And it's actually hard for the Custodes, as you're still getting armor saves. I know the Custodes get the invulns, but each time they drop one of those saves, that's a dead Custode, at least base infantry. The Alaris Terminators do have 4 wounds, I know that. But you also have the rockets and the ability to ignore cover, right, to shoot these Custodes. So those killer cans might have started off as a joke, might have, people really probably scoff at them. I know I wasn't giving them a bunch of love either, but when you're putting this many on the table, then you're following up with a little bit of Hero Hammer, of the thickest heroes on the list. And then you have that one Knobs unit, right? How do I always describe Knob unit, guys, on this channel? I always say that you utilize the war boss and the knobs unit in a truck as a scalpel unit, which is what it looks like, right? To me, how he's utilizing this unit, right, David? Everything else looks like it's just trying to get up the field and hold up the midboard. That truck is his speed. That knobs is his scalpel. He's most likely disembarking that. He's putting that on his problem flank, and he's jumping up and punching into whatever enemy unit that he is most likely has the most potential to punch him out. So that's pretty sick. Also, even if they fight first, orcs have fight and death. And the knobs have a great profile with strength 10 into these custodes too. I'm pretty. Oh, do they still have strength T5 or they moved to T6 now?
They're T6
now, right? Yeah. Sorry, I almost oversaid that. Either way, like we already said, and all those power claws from the knobs unit. You want that AP. People are upset that they have the custodes have that great armor save. They get light cover. Well, you're ignoring the cover. You're getting great AP by the rockets. You're getting great AP by the Killican's potential of fighting. The man's unit has AP. The knobs unit has AP. This is what I'm saying, guys. Sometimes one AP isn't going to cut it. Even though I'm a fan of one AP too, right? We're going to go over a list that goes over the traditional truck spam, traditional boy spam list as well. I'm not knocking it. Don't ever think that. I'm never knocking the way anybody has their WAAAGH going. Nobody has their culture going, right? We're going to hit all these lists and you're going to be like, ooh, as we go on, they're not all the same. They are very different. And, but as you can see with this list with Todd Higgins, right? Or no, sorry, this isn't Todd Higgins.
This is opponent.
This is Todd, or I was talking about his list still. Sorry, yeah. Todd. I had his list open right here. The Todd Deagle. Yeah, see the Todd. You'll see right now, guys. But Todd Deagle, you've seen that he has a bunch of passive, bad matchups for these custodes. The characters coming in there and fighting really good. The rockets being able to take out these characters. So I'm sure he did great. I'm sure he fought in death, took out some of his problematic units. I'm sure he used the man's unit, the mega. I'm sure he used the knobs unit with the truck to get in there and countercharge or just initiate combat with a unit that he really wanted to kill, fought in death with them, made him hard to kill with the fact that they have -1 to wound, so you don't really know how to commit to them. So yeah, great job. Took out custodes, which everybody's scared of custodes, but he wasn't, and he smashed them out. So let's move on to this final opponent, and then we'll move on to the next GT placer.
One last thing about that custodes list. He did have a Callous Assassin.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Which,
okay.
Is good at character sniping. It can cause your opponent to spend an extra CP for each stratagem.
Oh, okay.
Fights first.
Okay.
But with the strength of its attacks, it wasn't going to be a real threat to the orc characters here.
The only one,
Art of his nails.
The only one that he could possibly have hurt is the war boss, and even then, the war boss has the innate built-in -1 to wound when the unit is targeted. So that guy's not reliably taking out the war boss either.
I mean, even in melee, we're still looking at strength 5.
Yeah. Nope. No. So yeah, we can move on to the next list, but that's cool. He had a sniper as well as though. I do worry about our orc characters getting killed sometimes, guys, to be honest. But play the terrain, have the transports. You'll be all right. But Pinboy only has 3 wounds. And
for his 5th matchup, he faced the 1,000 Suns.
Oh, another menace on the tables, huh? Another menace army.
Another menace.
All right, you probably give us some feedback on this.
He's got Armin, Exalted Sorcerer on the disc, Infernal Master, Magnus the Red, not surprised there, 1,000 Sun Sorcerer and Terminator armor, and then he's running 1 10-man rubric squad, 3 5-mans, 1 10-man Zangor units, Vortex Beast, and then 10-man Terminator Blob, and then 3 Zangor and Lighten for just speed and utility.
Okay. So yeah, tell us what do you know about this list? Because I know you know a bit about T-Suns.
So T-Sun's got a lot of firepower here on this list. Looks like he brought plenty of characters to stack up the Cabal points for those deadly combinations. There's one ability that allows you to turn any rapid fire gun to a psychic weapon, and then that's where Magnus comes into play, where he allows rerolls for psychic weapons. So I have to look at his data sheet again, but I think it's reroll hit rolls 1 and wound rolls of 1.
So
for psychic weapons.
How threatening are those weapons to that orc list that you've seen?
Well, the thing is, they can stack up the mortal wounds too with that, and with all, it seems like he's got plenty of Cabal points to set that up.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's only going to be like a one unit per turn kind of thing. So.
Oh. And is that you can it's like shooting though? You just target anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now the
Psychic's not
psychics
just
only works
shooting.
like that. So you just target, he gets shoot.
And then he's also got the Mutilith Vortex Beast that
Okay.
can snipe characters.
Okay.
So it's one of those aura within 24 inches. You don't need line of sight, and I think you do D3 mortal wounds, possibly more, if you roll 6. It's been a while since I actually looked at these guys.
Okay. He looks like he has a bunch of small units too, though. I mean, it's not like, I mean, he has a Terminator, but he's going 5-man, 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 one big unit. What is his counter punching? I mean, Magnus?
Yeah,
that's his only one though. Yeah.
Yeah, the 2 biggest hitting units on this list are the Terminators, mainly with their shooting.
And how
but
is
they
that?
Still have respectable.
How is the fight? How does the fighting? How does it look? Because you know you're going to fight orcs. I mean, if you remember with T-Suns, you can shoot all you want. You get one turn of that, and then they're on you. So I mean, that's what I'm thinking is you. I mean, we know he lost his game. So the thing is that I immediately see is you can't stop those characters, those Killican units, the knobs coming out. And, I mean, those knobs are coming there and punch out that Terminator unit and rip it in half. You know, make it a problem just fighting with them, and they don't get picked up right away because what is their profile? I don't even.
Yeah, you just don't have the volume of attacks that you need to do.
He's not fighting enough.
It's all just in 2 units, the Terminators and Magnus.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
you're really relying on line of sight and getting those shots in, dishing mortal wounds.
So yeah, Todd.
The 10-man does have flamers, so
I mean that's annoying for if
that's still only strength 4.
Okay, so you just got to 1-out-5s everything pretty much.
Yes.
Not every. Yeah, a lot of something 6.
He's plugged in a Soul Reaper cannon in all 3 of the units.
I mean, I get it. He has shooting, but in all, the most likely how this went down. Not that I know everything of everything, but he walked right into the middle of the board. Maybe took out a couple killicans here and there from some units.
Right.
The characters started making some charges. You can't mortal wound them away from you because they have 4 up in the feel no paints between both beast bosses. You can't really snipe out all the mega knobs. So once Gaz, if he does get into a vortex piece, if he does get into a what was the other Terminator brick, he's messing those units up, like straight up. And there's a chance that he's messing up Magnus too, as he's most likely looting Magnus in 5. I mean, I'm sorry,
depending how this guy spent his cabal points, he could have had an issue with Magnus because with cabal points,
you can also ignore Magnus.
They can.
So it's good too.
So there's one stratagem, I believe it's a stratagem or a cabal point, but either way, you can do the same cabal power twice, and one of them is to wipe the damage to 0, and then Magnus, I believe, gets a reroll.
Yeah, I get it, but honestly, like you said, it's all 2 units.
Yeah,
and you just run around taking out those small units of rubrics. Take out that Terminator unit, dude's probably calling the game or just getting ran over by turn 3.
They just lack threats and volume here.
And we already talked about how this army has a bunch of AP. So yeah, these Marines might think they're getting good armor saves. They're not. They're getting tore apart because this is a bunch of -2 AP going into them. Flat damage 3, flat damage 2. I'm sure he was just tearing up through this unit army. Not that the T-Suns player was bad or made a bad list. I'm just saying, Orks, when they can run up and get up on you and they're not really scared of your biggest threats, then they're most likely just to run you over.
Yeah, and stylistically, that's always been a hard matchup for Thousand Suns.
Yeah.
Melee armies that want to get in your face. You're just not going to be able to stick in combat and deal the damage you need to.
So we'll move into the next person, though. But shout out, David, if you want to pull up the next player, which would be Todd Higginbottoms.
I have to actually pull that one up.
Oh, I sent it in the email, so you can just look at the list from the email. And then I have the pairings here. So you can just read the list from the email. So yeah, we have Todd Higginbottoms. So Todd Higginbottoms got 3rd place at Element Games Grand Slam. This is a GT. He did a great job, Todd did, and Todd actually is someone who's running one of the more atypical orc lists that we're seeing all over online. The typical advice that people are giving, as in, let's do a bunch of trucks, let's do a bunch of boys. So we'll take a look at his list. We'll take a look at his opponent. But he went, let me look at this. He had 439 points. So very close to Todd Deagle. So Todd Deagle and Todd Higginbottom, you guys should be friends. You guys have similar first names and both got 3rd place, right? Am I corny for that? I don't know. But either way, you guys, they both, just pretty corny. So he as well win, loss, win. So very similar to the other guy with 439 points, scored very well and very similar as well. So we'll take a look at his list real quick. And his opponents. You got it? Oh, yeah. No problem. And guys, like we're saying, he has a typical list that people advise. And if you, these are units that you most likely have. These are units you're most likely painting and getting into because these are what's being kind of shared online as the most competitive, like skeletal structure of way to play the orcs. And so yeah, do you need me to read it? Because I gotta read
It just
Hmm?
takes a while.
Okay.
I'm not gonna share our email.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So for this list, he's got the War Boss with Follow Me Lads, then 5 10-man boys units,
5 10-man basic boy units, guys. These are basic boys. These aren't beast snagger boys. He bought 5 units of basic boys.
and then you got your 6 trucks as well.
6 trucks. So like I'm saying, guys, this is the archetype for the skeleton of what people are saying to run competitively. The difference is that I'm seeing here is he just cut all those characters off that list, right? We've talked about this, but I've never actually ran a list like this. He said, one character, follow me, lads. This dude is on a mission, just get in one great charge and die. He doesn't care about anything else. So yeah, he's running again, 1 war boss, 1 enhancement, bam, no more leaders. 5 units of boys, not beast snagger boys, nothing fancy. He said boys, straight up boys, 6 trucks.
And then for other, he's got 1 unit of Gretchen, 2 units of Commandos, a unit of Knobs, 2 3-man units of Squig Hog Boys, 1 6-man unit of Squig Hog Boys, and then rounding out with 3 units of 5 Storm Boys.
Boom. That's all you need, right? This is what I would say is efficiency. Storm boys are the best because of rapid ingress, because they can be in very small units, move around the field, do your secondaries, but also kind of maybe skirmish, just bother people, let them know I'm gonna come steal your objective. They can advance and charge all game long. So he brought those guys. That's efficiency for 65 points. There's the bikers, but bikers can't fly. Bikers can't advance and charge all game long. Bikers can't rapid ingress. They're just serving a slightly different purpose. And so he just said, let's just go 3 storm boy units, very efficient. Squig Hog Boys, 3 units of Squig Hog Boys, very efficient. He made 1 unit, the thick unit, and he didn't even include the knob. No knob, just straight up 6-man unit. So that's just efficiency. And then 1 knob unit for that war boss. Like I always like to say, guys, why do you people bring that? Why do you see that in another GT level list? I said this 3-4 weeks ago. Not that I'm amazing. I'm just saying this is exactly how I imagined people are going to use the knob plus war boss. It's going to be their scalpel unit. You're going to plus that on the list. You don't need a bunch of knobs all the time, but you need 1 with the war boss, because when it's time to go, there's what's most likely to volume. Volume solves many, many problems in orcs and 40k as a whole, but for orcs specifically. So I'm glad that he really went into that, and I like to see that, to know that that's an efficient way to play. We know the Squig Hog Boys are great. I mean, nobody needs to argue that point to us. I do like that he has 2 3-man units, because I think running MSU with them is great, as you can use them for skirmishing and scoring. The big brick is in there just to really threaten people. He follows up with the 2 commando units, right? Not just 1, but 2, which I like that, because you can't just have the 1. It's kind of too easy to die. It doesn't threaten enough on its own. If you put Snickron in there, it becomes an expensive package. I know people will still do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I'm pulling up the cons for why maybe he decided not to, because this guy's fighting with no leaders, essentially just the 1. And he just said, let's just go with efficiency. So you can imagine he's either pressuring on both sides, the 2 different sides of the table. That way he can start what I call like that horseshoe potential. Maybe place 2 commando units in the flanks of this deployment, putting some pressure on enemies. He could be using them as screens, or doubling down on the same side and making it an actual threat, right? One of the criticisms I kind of give commandos a little bit is, by themselves, they're just simply not doing enough when you're going to threaten somebody with 1 sometimes, right? And then they're big enough that they can get killed. They do have great abilities, such as they'll ignore the overwatch. They have guns. They have squig, the bomb squigs, right? So definitely not a bad unit by any means. And I love that he went double down on it. So they kind of support each other. He didn't give them the character support maybe they wanted, but he had them in there to support each other, most likely. So love that. And he just said 1 Gretchen unit, just 1. So that's good. And like again, so if anybody missed it, in case you just got here, War Boss, follow me, lads. 5 units MSU of basic boys, not beast snagger boys, basic boys. 6 trucks, 1 Gretchen unit, 2 units of commandos, 1 knob unit with all power claws, 2 3-man units of Squig Hog Boys, 1 thick unit of 6 Squig Hog Boys, and 3 MSU Storm Boy units. Boom. Efficient. Now I'm going to come over here and look at his first matchup. So, by the way, Todd Higgins, like I said, 439 points. So, this is his first one, yeah, dude?
I actually don't know. I just
Oh.
to the top.
All this time?
Yeah, it has to be because that's the table number. If he's on one, then he's in
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. So he went, oh, you want to do it? Yeah, you're better reading it. Here, David. I can't
it's
move
kind
it.
of.
Yeah, okay, I'll go.
Read it.
So he came into here. His opponent, round 1, is a Blood Angels player. Sons of Sanguinius. He has a chaplain on bike with Vigil of Death, a lieutenant in Phobos armor with Icon of the Angel, 1 unit of Blade Guard veteran, a 6-man unit. He has 1 drop pod, 1 gladiator lance, or 2 gladiator lances, 2 units of infiltrators, 1 Invictor Warsuit, 1 Outrider squad, that'd be a 6-man unit, so he went with a big unit here, 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, a Reaver squad, and a Storm Speeder Thunderstrike. Okay, so this guy ended up going with, these are not typical Blood Angel units, right?
No,
You don't see
not at all.
Sing Guard, which I don't blame him for not bringing Sanguinary Guard. They're very, very expensive. He went with his own kind of twist on it.
Very gunline heavy.
Yeah, I would say it's a little too gunline heavy. I can see how our friend kind of outmaneuvered him. The boys can actually skirmish with a lot of these things that he has on here. The boys actually have potential to punch out these infiltrator units, which is nice for the boys having that many. Outriders, not necessarily that threatening either into the boys. Blade Guard, not really that threatening into the boys. So that really lets everything else do what they need to do. Let's see. What was I? Sorry, I'm pulling up his list again so I can give another peep at Todd Higgins' list. But
Just
like
real
we
quick,
yeah.
Joel Atkins had a question. He's like, "Do why all claws are kill saws not efficient?"
Oh, Joel, actually, we talked about earlier with Brandon's list, some people's put kill saws. They 1 unit. I would say that a lot of the reason why people are sticking away from them is because kill saws lack the volume. So it's not that you don't bring them. It's just that maybe 1 unit with them, as the power claws are slightly more diverse, as you can get more attacks in, as that's really solves a lot of problems. I mean, you're hitting on 4s, right? So keep that in mind, is you really want, you're only going to get the wall once. So you're going to be walking around for 4 turns of the game with only 2 attacks per Meganon. Yeah, kill saws are more similar to the Nebs, like a Scapula unit, but these are a particular unit that are used particularly for anti-vehicles. And like we said, Brandon only brought 3 in one of the units, right? So he had 2 units that were full of power claws, and then 1 unit he tried to split it up. So you can think that way too, Joel. It doesn't need to always be power claws, and you're not wrong if you go into kill saws. It's just people brought them more as like a specialty unit, with a specific role. Also, these commandos are fighting with those. This is kind of interesting, right? So they both brought kind of like units that are considered sneaky, infiltrating type.
Right.
I'm
sure deployment was very.
I'm sure. Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm sure deployment was fun. These guys are like, "What's up?" And having those 2 commando units means that's a real presence. If there was 1, you could have got outmaneuvered, outflanked, killed out, punched out, and instead he was like, "Nah, I'm doubling down here. You're gonna have to deal with both of them." So very cool on that. I can see how you ran that guy over. His next matchup was an Aldari unit. So he had an Altark Wayleaper, Eldren Uthar. Sorry, I don't know how to say this.
It's
other
so
names.
fun reading these names.
Uthar. Yeah, I can't read all that. I hate all that. Sorry, I can't read either.
Like,
Farseer, Skyrunner, Eilic Nightspear, Hornet, MSU Hornet. 2 Night Spinner units, a Ranger unit, 2 units, 1 unit of Shadow Specters with a support weapon, another support weapon, War Bikers, and 2 Wraith Knights. So he had to deal with the Wraith Knight unit. Goodness, he had to deal with 2 Wraith Knights. What I can see here is this is like a lot of guns, and these MSU units that he does have, the boys definitely are scared of. And you're going to have all those knights and everything, but with what they did with the terrain now and such, most likely he had the ability to hide. And you can see exactly what he was most likely. He's doing what everybody suggests you do with the boys. you have a volume of boys run out there, take over the board, infiltrate to have that pressure, and then you have squig hog boys that have the potential, at least one unit of squig hog boys that has the potential to threaten. Even if you can't reliably kill the unit, you can threaten them and make them think you might. And then all these storm boy units, dude, can you imagine? Rapid ingress, constantly moving around, late game, constantly still running up to the objective. God, I thought I killed that unit of boys in the truck. Yeah, here comes some storm boys. Bam. Right, just constantly putting guys in the objective, punching off his little units that are trying to hold them.
If they under command on the flank, the storm boys are there perfectly to handle that.
Yeah, so that's another way that the storm boys are definitely really cool. As you can imagine, guys, this is one of those kind of typical lists. I would say what really stands out to me is to double down on the knobs unit. I mean, on the commandos units, and no other leaders than the one war boss unit. So keep that in mind. That's what's interesting, right? Everybody's been saying to use MSU and to put these truck spam, but not a lot of people have been saying take off almost all leaders.
Yeah, he's spending all his points on the other units. I think he had 22 units.
There you go. That's a lot. And that's what I was bringing up before on one of the other streams is Orks could just have so many units that overturn. You're just running up like, I'm on this objective. Who's standing here? Oh, and you punch them out, and then they shoot you, and they're like, and then you, okay, man, they gone? Are you tabled yet? Nah, bro. I still have 10 more units hiding behind this wall, right? That's how you want to think. You're controlling the rate of attrition by being that fast, having layers to your defense. There's different ways to control your rate of attrition. You've seen with Brandon. You've seen with Todd Deagle. You've seen that they went more for the thickness. They went for more, I'm going to stand here and challenge you. I'm going to strategically place myself so that I can hide. But when I do stand on the open, I'm stat checking you. Compared to what Todd Higginbottoms did is he just said, I'm going everywhere. I'm getting speed, and I'm MSU challenging you everywhere, right? So what's his other, I have the other list that I should pull. Yeah. I was like, bring up that list, David. So we'll bring up his third, which I think he lost his fourth game. So this third game is Necron Army. He has a Nightbringer, Hexmark Destroyer, Overlord, Technomancer, and with a Sovereign Cornel Aura. Not sure what that is. A Technomancer and another Catan, the Nightbringer. So he has, was that two Nightbringers, or what is that?
No,
one's Transcendent and one's a Nightbringer. Yeah, you can't bring the same one twice. And then I don't think you can.
No.
And then you have a Canoptic Reanimator, Canoptic Scarab Swarm, just one unit of Crypto Thralls, three Doomsday Arcs, Destroyers, and the 10-man Lich-Guard unit.
It doesn't sound like a lot of units to me.
That's not a lot of units. That's quite expensive. The three Doomsday Arc is almost 200 points a pop. The Lich-Guard is about 200 points a pop. He has how many characters on this list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters. 2 of them I know are meant to be independent units, but God, talk about hero hammer. My goodness. Necrons just don't really have always a great matchup into Orks, guys. You'd be surprised. As long as you're not giving them your units away for free, and you're just kind of selectively targeting their unit that they use for scoring and that you can beat in skirmishes, they end up just walking around the field with big bricks that are too slow to really do and initiate anything. Or if you do have what I would call like the scalpel unit, like the knobs, you can run in there and challenge some of these units and actually possibly punch them out. I don't think the knobs are punching out the Lich-Guard unit. For the most part, you were probably ignoring the Lich-Guard unit and killing everything else on that list, as you'd get good points returns for killing the rest of those units and just consistently trading and doing the MSU, taking the objectives. More OC on multiple objectives. I like that. Great job on destroying him. And let's move on to his fourth matchup where he actually did end up losing.
Final matchup.
Oh, wait, what? That was only, no, I think that was his third matchup. I think I pulled up. So, this is his fourth matchup. So his fourth matchup.
Oh, there you're going.
I went the wrong way. Yeah.
Oh, you started. Okay. So no, that'd be the fourth because we didn't cover that one.
No, right?
I just thought you started the other way.
I thought I did.
Actually, I think you did.
Yeah, I did. So we're here. No, we're right. No, I was right. Sorry, guys. I'm making sure I'm not starting at the wrong turn. Turn wrong.
We're gonna go back to round 2.
What?
Because you hit that one's Eldari.
I started this one.
Yes.
And
we did Eldari second.
Oh, so that was his third?
That's his fourth.
This is his fourth.
Because that makes sense.
Oh, here's the Eldar. What is this list? Yeah, but so this is the one he actually did lose to.
Yeah.
Yeah, not surprised with the Wraith Knights. Yeah, I can see I messed up. I lazy-eyed it, guys. I pulled up the wrong list. Fight me for it. I don't care. All right, no, I'm just kidding. I did mess up though. This is actually, like I said, I made sure I didn't go too crazy. The Nightbringer list is his third matchup, guys. So just to be clear, because I got a little zealous. So his first matchup was the Blood Angels, like I said, with the infiltrator type units. He beat them. The second unit army he fought was the Astra Militarum. So this is the one I messed up, guys. Sorry. His second matchup was against Astra Militarum. Excuse me if you're out there, Todd. I'm sorry that I messed this up. I'm a goofy goober at a moment. So let's see. We got Todd Higginbottoms, and he went against Astra Militarum. He had to deal Lord Solars, Leontis, a command squad, platoon command squad, regimental engines here, Ursula Creed, really cool. Only one unit of battle line infantry. That's weird. He has a bunch of sentinels. He has obviously 2 armored sentinel units, another 3-man, 2 of the 3-mans, and then one of them is a 2-man. Obviously, he's looking to bring these guys back. He has 2 manticores, and then he brought 3 individual scout units. So this guy already is just a booty load of sentinels, right? He has
a lot of armor.
Yeah, he's already running
A lot
about
of
12
mobile
sentinels already. They're fast, but they're they can get punched out by orcs. So that's the thing. He did bring a shadow sword, so he did bring just one big unit. But as we've seen with our list, what is he getting a return on investment for killing with that? Can he even get a return on investment? You're mostly hiding things.
You're popping a 50-point truck.
Yeah, you're popping. Yeah, if you can see 2, maybe 2. I mean, you're not getting much. He has a Tempest, Scion squad, and then he allied some of those exaction squad. Okay, so instead of having more battle line, he brought just an exaction squad armored bodies. He brought Tempest Scions probably for rapid ingress, and then he just brought all sentinels. So the problem here is that sentinels just aren't killing boys reliably, and most likely. They can try, but they most likely aren't, and the boys can punch up into them with just volume. And the other units that he has can definitely punch out these units. He can't get the orcs off him once they start getting on him. And the fact that the boys don't directly kill everything super fast, as you're bringing down some of those scouts, those sentinel units, they're losing efficiency, and you can't bring them back till they're all gone. Right. So I can see why that would be very annoying for the Astra Militarum player, as he's just constantly getting gunked up, constantly losing on OC, not killing enough of the boys, especially during the WAAAGH, getting tank shocked by all these trucks running in that have higher strength than high strength compared to his toughness anyways, but it's just a lot of mortal wounds regardless of that. You don't care about that. But then just putting that into play is your orcs are handling these guys no problem. And you have all the Squig Hog boys. So when you do need to pick up one of those units, you're like, sorry, dude. And a 3-man unit Squig Hog points is just smashing. And then Joel wanted to pull up the fact, that you can negate the effects of indirect fire of the negative effects of them for the manticores using the sentinels to do the scouts. Yes, but but the thing is, that's obviously a good point. So thank you, Joel. Right, because you'd be scared of indirect. You'd be scared of indirect if you didn't have a booty load of trucks. Right, you're sitting there, sure, pop my trunk, my boys are going to get out. You're not going to get your point investment in return, and then the rest of your points are in a tank, a shadow sword. So you're not getting a points return on investment is there as well. So I can see how he beat him. I'm sure it was a very fun game because they're just both throwing a lot of these cheaper units at each other. He really wants to get his points return with those manticores and those tanks, but I'm sure he just beat him on points. Didn't let the indirect really affect his gameplay too much. Just played it smart with all those trucks. And like I said, the third game was the Necron player, which he won as well. And this is where I messed up, guys. As I'm sure, as everything I said still does apply, he did have play into this, but he did end up losing this game to the Eldar unit. And as we assume, it's most likely because he's going against 2 double Wraith Knights. Yeah. And the Wraith Knights can have enough efficiency to destroy those trucks and move around the battlefield. They're just a problem. They're just super powerful. So there's nothing that was probably wrong with him. It's just, as you could imagine, with all those more skirmishy units, what are you going to do against this overwhelming firepower, plus the fact that he can just come at you with these giant Titanic units that are very powerful? So I get it. The mortal wounds, the dice, the fate dice, the re-rolls, these are all just a problem because you're getting the efficiency based off that. But he does redeem himself because in game 5, he beats Eldar. This is game 5 right here, right? Mm-hmm. So he plays Eldar again in game 5.
Yes.
On a slightly different Eldar list. Let me just take a quick.
He
And-
did
and
better
then-
against
yeah.
seeing the Wraith Knights the second
And
time.
actually, in his last game, like I said, he redeemed himself because that's Wraith Knights again, right? So we don't know the mission he's on. Sorry, that would have been actually probably useful getting his advice. Luckily, that's why we had Brandon. He could talk to us and tell us these little details. But clearly, he learned his lesson. He learned what to play. Maybe the mission favored him, whatever it had to be. But he ended up beating this Eldar list, which consists of an Autarch Wayrunner, a Death Jester, Farseer, the Yinkarn, a Guardian Defense Squad, just one big 10-man unit, 3 Fire Prisms, 3 support weapon systems, and 2 Wraith Guns. So the difference here is there's a little more like stagnant firepower with these fire prisms, but goodness, that's really, really good firepower. There's less infantry and actually scoring potential on this in this list. And he brought kind of an expensive, yet I'm not sure if it's worth it, character in the Yinkarn. So I'm not sure. I haven't looked at their, but from what I'm aware, it's very similar to the Avatar of Cain. Not completely the same. I just mean it's like the stat, not as good, but that's kind of what the role the Yinkarn's kind of looking for, kind of like a Catan / a Avatar of Cain type model where the Orks might not really be that worried about it. You're not going to get the return when you're fighting with him and killing 5 boys or whatever. So with this, I can just see this guy look like he really just wanted to shoot you off the table and have the Wraith Knights carry his army, which did carry him as he was still doing very well throughout the tournament. But Todd Higgins did overcome this army. Great job to you, Todd Higgins. You redeemed yourself. You didn't let the Wraith Knights bring you down. So you might lose to these Wraith Knights or an army that has a hard counter to you once, guys. That doesn't mean you should be discouraged on your list, because you can see Todd just immediately redeemed himself by fighting Eldar again with not the exact same list, but a similar problematic units with the Wraith Knights still being on there, with having some fire support guns and such like that. So great job to him. So should we move on to the fun RTT list that I wanted to pull up before as a closer, or did you want to do one more?
Which one is it? What list is it?
The secret list that I don't. Oh, you told everybody about the Stompa. We're about an hour and a half in. I don't know if people want us to keep going with that, but
I got it.
We do have a fun surprise list here of someone who actually played the Stompa and wasn't completely irrelevant, right? So there's a shout out. This is more of like I said, guys, we care about WAAAGH tactics, not always what's efficient. We showed you Brandon's list, which is a out of the box skew list with the kill tanks. We showed you Todd Deagle's list, which is running killicans, running gas ghoul, not caring what people think about gas. It costs too much. No, I don't care about the killicans being slow. I'm bringing them too. So Todd Deagle showed us you can run more of a mechanized list, not spam trucks. He only had one truck unit on his list, but he did have the Knobs unit. And then to follow up with the Todd Higgins list that he scored 3rd place as well at his GT, he had the more stereotypical, kind of commonly repeated, brought up meta list, which is run 6 trucks, run 6 battle line, run 3 mans of Squig Hog Boys, fill in the rest, right? But he chose to continue filling up the rest by not bringing leaders and just saying, yeah, I'm just gonna keep bringing more stuff, just more stuff. So now you guys know, and he didn't even pay the extra for the Beast Snagger Boys. He just didn't think the points were worth it for that difference. I mean, normal boys are just cheap as dirt, guys, right now. I know that they're a little underwhelming sometimes, but just know they're cheap as dirt, and Todd Higgins proved that they still have a play and a purpose, right? They're not some F tier garbage. They can be used because OC is nice, T5 is nice. So boom. And we're gonna hit this. You think we're gonna end with this list maybe? Or?
Yeah, we're gonna end with this.
We can end with this one.
There's only 3 rounds and we can hit it pretty fast.
Yeah, so we're gonna go with one more list, guys. This was an RTT list. This was a list that I found fun and I wanted to kind of talk to about, because I know a lot of people are just kind of discouraged. Like, I don't want to play this. I don't want to run 6 trucks. What am I going to do here? I didn't see any like specific speed wall list, guys. So sorry, I did kind of look, but we've seen these diverse lists. And here with Tim McCarthy, he ended up getting, what was it? 3rd place?
Yes, third
place at his RTT, going 2-1, scoring 270 points with a Stompa. So, David, you want to read over his list? He did bring a Stompa, guys. Give a shout out. Can I get a wall in the chat or something? He literally brought a Stompa to an RTT. He didn't care what everybody says. He didn't care that they're 800 points.
That's awesome. I'm very happy to hear that. All right, so of characters, he's got a Beast Boss on Squigosaur, Big Mech and Mega Armor with Follow Me Lads, a Big Mech with Shock Tech Gun, a normal mech, and then Battle Line 1 unit of Beast Snagga Boys, 1 truck, 1 unit of 5 flash kits, a kill rig, a 5-man mega knob unit with power claws, the squiggoth, and then also the Stompa.
Yes, this dude was just like, I'm bringing what I like. He brought only a 5-man units of of flash kits and probably just stuffed them in that truck. Like, nah, we're going here. What was that, Matt? What do you think was the Mega Knobs units? I didn't hear what. Did he bring a character support for that? Sorry, I was reading something.
Yes, he's got the Big Mac in Mega Armor.
Okay.
With Follow Me Legs.
Okay, give him some speed.
Mm-hmm.
He got the Big Mac with a shock attack gun and a mech to give the Stompa. Sorry, to give the Stompa +1 a hit.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. That's what's going on there for sure. Did he have mech guns or something for that shock attack, or was he just?
I think he's just.
Oh, he was probably in the truck with the flash kits.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. He brought units that people talk about, but I haven't really seen them kind of showing their face too much competitively. He brought the kill rig, and he only brought one because hey, there's so much other stuff going on. The kill rig being multi-purpose, right? He's contributing in multiple phases. He's kind of making up for the fact that they don't have a lot of diversity since he brought a Stompa. He's bringing even more shooting with that word tower being able to give more last cannons that are auto hitting. So Stompa already shoots good, but let's say that he almost kind of whiffs. Word tower might just go in there and finish it off with that kill rig. The squiggoth, he can just shove that down someone's throat. It has great fighting potential. It's only 150 points. Well, great might be an oversight. It's a good fighting potential. And let me go up a little bit. Did he have something to put in there that I can think of?
Beast Boys.
How many units? Just one? No, those most likely win his kill rig. So he's not even filling. Yeah, he brought a truck. Yeah, he brought all these units that can have transports, but he just simply doesn't have enough points for it.
Because the flash kits get in there.
The flash can get in the truck. And what?
The squiggle.
Yeah, they should be able to. Probably might have put him in there. I just assume the squiggoth is going into combat. Right. That's why he probably might have not, but we don't know. And he has that beast boss. So yeah, this dude has a couple. He brought a fighty character to kind of help him with the beast boss, the mega knob so that he can hold objectives most likely. Big Mag with shock attack gun for that anti-tank shooting. Mech to make his Stompa effective. Beast Snaggle Boy so he could put something in his kill rig. The truck as a mobile gun platform for his 2 shooting units. Kill rig, like I said, is a good follow-up and assistant to the squiggoth and the Stompa, as it's a multi-purpose model that can shoot and fight. Also can buff a unit specific, in 12 inches in the command phase. Not sure how much that came into play, just throwing it out there. And the fact that it has a last cannon auto hits, I'm sure is very helpful to him. And squiggoth only being 100 points. Hey, I don't have one, but if you have a basic squiggoth, that's what's up. So yeah, Stompa. I just wanted to give him a shout out. That's really cool. Like I said, guys, don't be scared to do what your heart desires and play with what armies you want. I know people are like, dude, look at the knights. The knights, they got 300 points, and the Stompa's 800. I'm like, yeah, I know. It hurts me too. If you've ever seen, I put my little Stompa right here. He's like my little son. I like petting him on the head and stuff and patting him and, trying to punch him. But, you can take him to events, guys. Of course, it'll take you some practice. You need to get some practice games in. Of course, there are matchup dependents. So David will pull up some of his matches. But so let's look into his matchups to just see maybe why he did good.
Yeah, first round, he faced Black Templars. For the characters, Castellan, Chaplain Grimaldus.
See that, Wade?
High Marshal Hulbrick. Then Battle Line, Primaris Crusader Squad. 3 Primaris Crusader Squads. 2 Eradicator Squads. And a Primaris Sword Brethren Squad. So that's a 10-man. The Eradicators are 6-mans. So as you can see, spent a lot of points on these units. The Crusaders are 320 points for the 10-mans with 4 Power Fists, 1 Power Weapon, 7 Chain Swords.
I mean,
that's not a lot of units.
You're just kind of getting killed. I mean, that Stompa is he's getting his return for those guns. And the Eradicators, they have short range. How many did he bring? Those units?
He brought 12 total.
Big units that he's just like, yeah, you're getting screwed over. I'm murking you. You would think on paper, oh, maybe this is gonna kill him, but I'm pretty sure they just didn't wound good enough, or maybe he just got the initiative on them since the Stompa can take an angle, maybe the terrain. You would think the guy would put him into outflank or something so he can come out and attempt to shoot first,
right? Which
might have happened, but the Stompa might have just tanked it, especially if it was the wall and the dude thought preemptively, I'll put the wall on so I can get a better save.
Mm-hmm.
Never know. But what I do know is that guy probably shot back with that Stompa and that kill rig, auto hitting, and put some work in. Took the middle of the board. So I wanted to pull up my Stompa off the top of my head because I don't know it. Oh, I'm going to pull the squig off.
Yeah, how
and
many
the Stompa.
wounds is that
It's
between the
30.
squig off and the Stompa? So,
Oh.
what, 54 wounds? Is it squig off 30? Or, I mean, 24?
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to look at this real
'Cause-
quick.
I mean, I know the Eradicators can hit, but that's still a big task to wipe out all those wounds.
So
in one
the
turn.
I think Eradicate, they don't have strength 14 though. Do they?
No,
That's the
exactly.
thing. Stompa has is toughness 14 with a 2-up base save, so he's already getting a great save. 12 OC, so you can take these objectives. He has the Death Cannon, which is strength 14 minus 3d6 shots. If he's hitting on 4s, that's really gonna mess someone up. The Super Gatling, my God, 20 shots, and then you're hitting on 4s. It's also sustained hits. Super Rockets, and then a bunch of just big shooters, which are strength 5 with no AP. Guys, that's so much firepower to be hitting on 4s. I know it's not the most meta, but he's showing you right now it's definitely playable and give people some problems, especially if Space Marines are like, I'm going to get these competitive infantry units. And you're like, these guys are going to just bounce. They're not going to do anything. You're not going to get a return on anything. And it gives me to finally kill something that I can kill with and be happy about with my Stompa. The Stompa also gets a sweep attack of 18 attacks hitting on 3s, strength 10 minus 2, flat 3 damage. So he just punching you out. Fantastic. And then if for some reason someone has a Land Raider or a Dreadnought, I mean, sorry for him. Strength 24 minus 5, flat 10 damage. 10 damage.
Damn.
So let's go to this next matchup. Obviously, you can see here the guy probably just didn't have enough durability and toughness because you still have a kill tank. The kill rig coming up the field as well.
Yeah, I just think
And
he
the
didn't
Beast
have
Boss.
enough units, and a lot of his points were in those Eradicators, and there's a high chance that they just bounced off, wounding on 5s.
Yep.
And
even then, once you do kill him, let's say he did kill him, there's still so much going on.
all right, we actually don't have a list for his second round opponent that he most likely won because he moved up on tables. So we'll just take a look at the third list, round 3.
Wait, did he win that one? I think
Versus-
that's the one he lost to. Is this one he lost to probably?
I'm not sure.
Well,
Oh yeah.
he did
Most
drop
likely,
one, so I
'cause
assume he lost
He
to
went up
this.
table.
Yeah,
for
he
the
went up
second
in a
round.
table again. So this is most likely the list that he lost to.
All right, we got a Custodes list with the Blade Champion, the Shield Captain, and Trajan Valoris. Then 2 3-man Custodian Guards with shields and Sentinel Blades.
Yep.
No, it's 5-mans because there's 3 with spears and 2 with Sentinel Blades. Then a 5-man with all spears. A unit of 2 Alaris Custodians, 1 grav tank, 2 grav tanks, and then a 6-man warding unit. And then he brought 2 units of Exaction Squad. So most likely to screen his backfield, so the rest of his list can come up.
Okay. I can see this where the guy could have done what normally the Orks do, but he just ignored maybe the Stompa to a certain degree and hid pretty well. It doesn't look like he has anything that can kill the Stompa directly, but you can't. I mean, some of these characters are just destroying the other Ork units that are on this list. They also get their fight first and everything as well. So the problem here is Custodes are just very good, and he didn't have enough bodies as the other units we've seen are thick enough, diverse model counter wounds or durability to withstand this kind of Custodia initiative and then punch them back like we've seen with, I believe, Todd Deagle's list, where he had all those killicans.
Right.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure a Custode player, if I was him, I would have just ignored the Stompa and killed everything else.
Oh,
you know,
the kill tank list that had the face Custodes? Or the kill tank?
No, it was the Custodes. I mean, he might have too. Brandon might have too, but it was like for sure it was Todd Deagle that did it. When he had all the killicans and Gaz, which Gaz and the killicans are good against to that. So yeah, guys, we brought this up. Maybe we can read some chats. Maybe we missed some because I feel like I wasn't keeping track at all. But I seen a chat from Morris higher up that I don't remember anybody David bringing up.
I did bring it. He just wished us. I put it up on chat.
Oh,
we didn't skip anything.
Oh, we could read it though. That would be nice. Give him a shout out.
Yeah, he said your guys' channel is gonna blow up eventually, man. This live conversation and interaction is so awesome and wholesome. We
That's very
appreciate that,
kind.
Mortis. It's very kind of you to say.
Oh, I didn't see that kind
Yeah,
word.
put it
I
on
was
screen.
I was like in the focus
Yeah,
on the.
you're-
I was
in the
probably
zone.
reading something. Yeah, I was in the zone. Yeah, well, that's nice. I mean, that was heartfelt. I felt that. That was nice. Thank you. And anybody that's in the comment, I know some people dropped out of the chat. Let us know. Yeah. Let us know how we could have improved this in this chat. This is our first time doing this a meta talk, doing this at this time on a Wednesday. We're gonna try to do this regularly every Wednesday to kind of go over these tournament lists. Maybe we'll limit it to a couple less, but we wanted to do a shout out to Brandon, one of our channel members, subscribers, I mean, and we wanted to talk just show the diversity that the index is still open. The meta is not set for orcs. We did show an example of truck spam, but there are other ways to play and other ways to limit and to win. And you don't have to sit there and be ashamed because you want to use your killicans or you want to use your Gazgul model or you want to use your boys just because you read on Facebook or on Reddit or whatever that they weren't meta and that they were only C tier, right? Even regardless to what I said, it doesn't matter, right? That's the point of orc players. We all do play our own way. We all have our cultures, right? So we'll wrap this up right here, guys. Oh, David has some comments.
And then Admiral No Beard was in here earlier.
Oh.
And he was loving the list we were talking about, which early on we were talking about Brandon's list.
Yes.
His 3 kill tank list. He did very well this past weekend. He says, also follow up to my list idea of 3 Gorks and 18 cans. It's swing. Giving up entirely on bring it down is rough.
Yeah, but you've seen people don't care. You just play into it and you just play playing a skill like that is going to be a strength in itself. So don't be ashamed of doing that. I think that actually will do much better than you think. Take it to an RTT. Of course, get some practice games in. That way you optimize your movement. Yeah. That's one thing that Brandon definitely did is Brandon knew how to use every unit he had. He was optimal with it. He had a follow-up. If that unit died, this is where it is going to be for the next turn. If this unit dies, this is where it's going to stand. So think that way when you're setting up Admiral and when you're doing your play test and you're with this list, right? If you're going to put pressure, if you're going to be cagey, keep those in mind, right? So Brandon did not play every game the exact same way, and you shouldn't necessarily either if you can help it. Is there is that it? Oh, there's a new. What is that? I didn't see. Is that the table which Eddie played last Saturday? No, the pictures that are from when I played, I actually posted on the Discord, right? And I played against Tyranids. So then, yeah. Is there anything else? Any other comments? Nope. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, everybody who joined us. Thank you to anybody who ever gets this far in the far, far future. We'll be doing this again. And with feedback from the Discord, with feedback from helpful fans and helpful individuals. Let us know how we get better. Maybe we'll do a little short list, and maybe we'll do a little better on the summary, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and if any of you guys participate in any tournaments coming up, feel free to let us know. We'll cover it here. We can discuss how your matchups, and yeah, it would be fun to look that over.
Yeah, as we get better at this, it'll be smoother, quicker, more appealing, and more of you guys can get your list in, and we'll know how to kind of go through them all and really hit all the same points without making it dragged on. So thank you for bearing with us. We appreciate you guys. Join us on Friday as we do another live stream at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, right? Central Midwest Time. And on Wednesdays, we follow up and do them again on 7:30. So we'll probably do another meta talk. So be here for that and send in your list or whatever. Talk to us on Discord. Let us know how you do if you do a tournament this weekend with your orcs.
Actually, one more. And Brandon's going to let us know how his Nova tournament goes. And he'll provide pictures again, and we'll see how his 3 kill tank list does
there. We go. That's what I'm talking about, man. And shout out to your friend. I seen he was out there and he had his list, but I don't want to kind of spread the tension between both of you guys. No offense to him, but just I was focused on you because of the skew. So very cool. All right, guys. We appreciate you. But always keep in mind, don't cross a wall because we knock your teeth out. Whoa.